And what's up, and welcome to the Lon Yop Show. I am John, ready to get rocking and rolling. I am back this week. Last week I got sick, had to skip the show. I was feeling better, but I needed a break anyways. The Lon Yop Show means a little something extra in Cajun French. I am John. This is my South Louisiana podcast. I try to get friends and family members on. I put out the vibes over the week to see if anybody wanted to join me this week. And of course, crickets, because people are scared. But that's okay. I'll do the show tonight by myself. Got a few topics I want to talk about. Mostly the biggest news stories this evening as we head into the weekend. The Lon Yop Show, absolutely free. You can catch us on all these platforms here on the right if you're watching the video. If you're doing the audio version, you can find it on most places where audio podcasts are available. Video on YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute.com. I recommend trying to subscribe on as many different platforms as possible, especially on the video platforms. Not all of my content will appear on every platform. Sometimes I say stuff that they don't like, and they will block videos. So especially on YouTube, some of my videos will not be up there. I don't think BitChute has ever removed a video. Rumble, I don't think they've ever intentionally removed a video, but I think sometimes there's like some technical errors. That site still has a little bit more development to go. So I suggest liking, sharing, subscribing on multiple platforms. And the Lon Yop Show is a show I do live on my personal Facebook page because that's where I do have some audience. And then I take it, make clips, and distribute that as well on the video platform. So if you're not a big fan of the long format that this show is, you can watch the clips of different subjects. So we'll probably have 3 different clips because I'm going to tackle 3 different subjects tonight. And maybe more. We'll see how the show goes. If you do like the long-form podcast format, welcome aboard, and let's get into it. It is Friday, the 10th of February, 2023, and the U.S. did what everybody wanted them to do. They shot down whatever it is that, I don't know, we're assuming it may be China. So people are comparing this to the Chinese spy balloon that flew across the continental United States, and we didn't do anything about it until shoot it down after its mission was pretty much complete already. We're saying this is a Chinese spy balloon. That's how the U.S. characterizes it. China doesn't. They say it's a civilian balloon, and they were not happy. The United States showed too much aggression, according to China. Anyways, so there was another object, apparently an unidentified flying object. You know what that is, folks? As I take a sip of here of my tequila on the rocks. Don Julio tonight, babe. All right. Yeah, so I like to have a drink on the show, and I do want to say this. The Lon Yop Show is... it's a South Louisiana show, but understand every now and again I might throw a South Louisiana-ism, a Cajun-ism out there, but I'm not going to put on a caricature. I'm not going to make it up and go over the top with it. You're getting real authentic stuff here. So just to let those outsiders know what's going on, because I talk about South Louisiana. Yeah, this is how a lot of us think, the way I speak, but I'm not going to put on the old Cajun man caricature. Anyways, let's get back to the story. So the U.S. shot down a car-sized unidentified flying object. That's a UFO. Apparently, it was above Alaska. This is a story from Reuters. I chose Reuters for this. Reuters has a history of having less spin, although in recent years, especially since Donald Trump, he pretty much broke the media, and they're all biased no matter what. So this is from Reuters. A U.S. F-22 fighter jet on Friday shot down an unidentified flying object, a UFO, over Alaska, U.S. officials said less than a week after the military brought down a Chinese balloon that had flown across the United States. See, I like how they don't call it a Chinese spy balloon here, because that is the American characterization. China says it's not. I don't know what it was, and you don't know what the payload is in there. They didn't really say anything, and conveniently it just sunk in the water. I don't know if they recovered anything from it. They said they didn't want to shoot it down because they were scared that debris would fall and damage homes or something in Montana, and it was a much larger one. I think they said the size of 3 buses. This one apparently was the size of a small car, and I guess they were not worried about the debris this time. They used a Sidewinder missile to down this craft. Quote, "We don't know who owns this object," said White House spokesperson John Kirby, adding that it was unclear where it began its flight. And the United States has satellites all over the globe, so I'm being skeptical. It seems like they might not want to tell us everything. They probably know exactly where that thing came from. President Joe Biden ordered the shoot down, which was announced from the White House. He also ordered the shoot down of the quote-unquote Chinese spy balloon, and the Pentagon overruled him and said, no, they overruled the commander-in-chief and said, we're not going to do it. Too much debris. This time they listened to old Joe. He's not really running things right. He's just a puppet. So on February 4th, another U.S. F-22 fighter jet brought down what the U.S. government called a Chinese surveillance balloon off the coast of South Carolina following its week-long journey across the United States and portions of Canada. China's government says it was a civilian research vessel. Some lawmakers criticized the president for not shooting down the Chinese balloon sooner. The U.S. military had recommended waiting until it was over the ocean out of fear of injuries from falling debris. I've listened to a lot of, commentary on this, and some people have said, I'm going to actually mention Dan Bongino is he's going to a Joe Biden quote about it where he says, well, China knows what the deal is, man. And Dan Bongino says it's a story because it's not a story. Basically, this kind of thing happens all the time, and we let China get away with it, and it just so happened to be, oh, boom, we caught it. And, they also said this happened during Trump's administration. Now, it was a bunch of off-the-record, anonymous people who were given this information that apparently these balloons happened. This was how the story went, and it was really bizarre. So some anonymous people came out and told the press this happened 3 times under Trump. Trump's officials came out and said, no, it didn't. That's a lie. And the Trump officials actually put their name on the line, so they were not anonymous. And they said, no, it didn't happen. And then I believe it was Milley. Was it Mark Milley? One guy came out and said, oh, actually, it happened. We just didn't tell the president. And I'm like, dude, that's treason, right? You don't tell the commander-in-chief. And then later on they said, well, actually, we just didn't know until now. So this one balloon apparently caught the Pentagon. It got their antennas going up, and they looked back through the history, and they said, oh, yeah, okay, this happened before. We just didn't know about it, but now we know about it because we know what to go back and look for. I'm assuming it doesn't make any sense, folks. It sounds like they're trying to cover stuff up. Now, what's the conspiracy? I don't know. I don't know what exactly they're trying to cover up. I can't figure it out. I just know this does not bode well for the tensions with Russia and China, the whole Ukraine thing going on. It seems like we could possibly be on the brink of another world war where you have several nations like China and Russia and a few others are coming together in a partnership here. And then, of course, you got the United States and NATO and the UK in a partnership on the other side. And that's kind of how these things start. We may already be in it, and we just don't know it really kicked off yet. When you look at the history books and you look back and, oh, this war went on for 50 years. Well, the first 10 years, they probably didn't even really know it was going to be a war. It was just ramping up. And they look back in history and they go back and say, oh, well, this was the starting point of the war. But while they were living it in real life, they didn't really notice. So could we already be in, quote unquote, World War III? Who knows? I just know it's not good anytime you have to have a military shoot anything down. So what is going on? I don't know, but it does make me very, very cautious. You may want to think about the future. Maybe do some prep work. That's all I'm saying. All right, so that was a big story I wanted to talk about. That is a story that came out later on this afternoon. Then I was scrolling through Twitter this morning, and I don't normally do that. I don't even have a Twitter account, so I can only scroll so far before it kicks me out. But journalist Andy No, who does a lot of undercover journalism, a lot of riot protest journalism on Antifa and so forth, he was posting about this activist who had this incredibly tragic accident. And the more you read about this story, the more you realize, man, it's just incredibly ironic. I hate to say this, but it's almost like she got what she was wishing for. I mean, that's what like some of the comments said on Twitter, and it's absolutely tragic. I hate to say something like that, but she was an anti-police activist. She supported the riots and then later gets robbed and killed. She died later on in the hospital from injuries she received during the robbery and the aftermath, but we'll get into it, man. It almost seems like she wasn't following her philosophy, or maybe she was, because Andy No claims she was more of an anarchist, anti-police, in support of the riots. And get this, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, her family does not want police to jail the robbers. They want some kind of alternatives to traditional prosecution. Yeah, their daughter's dead, and unbelievable. Okay, so we're going to get into it, but that's the spirit of this activist. This is what she would have wanted, I guess, for her murderers to go free. So let's get into it. This is from the Post Millennial, which, by the way, Andy No is a large part. I think he might be like the primary editor of the Post Millennial. There are other stories about this. You can find it all over the place. I think it's from Oakland, so the local Oakland news has it there. Now, their stories are way more of a puff piece about this lady, and, you know, it's incredibly tragic when someone loses their life, and you don't really want to smear them, but the irony here is just too rich to ignore. So let's get into it. From the Post Millennial, Oakland radical anti-police activist dies after being violently robbed. Her family said that if police locate the suspects, they are, quote, committed to pursuing all available alternatives to traditional prosecution, such as restorative justice. So, an anarchist bakery owner in Oakland, California, who believes in the abolishment of law enforcement, has died after sustaining severe injuries during a violent attempted robbery on Monday. By the way, an anarchist. She owns a bakery. You see with the mask required. That's the sign in her bakery. Mask required. Yes, still, even if you're vaccinated. So she's got rules even after the COVID restrictions have been lifted. She's still hardcore on those rules. You have to wear a mask in her business. Yet, she's an anarchist. Okay. So her name is Jen Angel. She was 48 years old. She was dragged for nearly 50 feet. Yikes. She was struggling with two men in a vehicle who tried to steal her purse. Apparently, I think maybe she got caught in the door as they sped off. So, Angel was a self-described anarchist and an avid social justice advocate and had a strict policy of never calling the police. In a GoFundMe organized to cover expenses, her family said that if police locate the suspects, they are committed to pursuing all available alternatives to traditional prosecution, such as restorative justice. According to CBS News, at around 12:30 p.m. Monday, the suspects broke into Angel's vehicle while she was inside and grabbed her purse. She got out and ran after them, but got stuck under the door of their getaway vehicle and was dragged down the street. She was immediately rushed to the hospital, but the medical team soon revealed that she was unlikely to survive. Now, I need to turn up my headphones a little bit here. I think her philosophy, and we'll see from some of the posts of Andy No as we go down. He posted a lot of stuff, some of her like Facebook posts, etc. Is she seemed very non-interventionalist? Is that the proper term? She didn't want to intervene. So later, we'll get to that quote where she talks about how she supports the businesses that didn't do anything when they got their windows broken, etc., during the riots. But she was being an interventionalist. Like, she was getting in. She was chasing after the robbers after they robbed her, right? She pursued them. Was she not supposed to just lay down and just let them take it? Just let them have it, right? It's not their fault, right? It's not their fault that these minorities, they're believed to be minorities, robbed her. It's the, institutional racism or whatever. So why didn't she just let them take it? Why did she go back and fight? Well, she's anti-police, and maybe the anarchist in it, maybe her philosophy really is that the people should just handle it themselves. You don't need the police. So, you can just go around and handle your business. Okay. I don't know that. I'm just trying to figure out what her mentality is here, how she expects to solve the situations without police, because she definitely didn't just lay back and get robbed. She went after them, I'm guessing, trying to get her stuff back. So I don't know what her mindset was here. Is she being a hypocrite, or is she actually being straight on with her philosophy? So Angel's family announced Thursday evening that she had been medically declared to have lost all brain function and will not regain consciousness. In a long statement, they outlined her philosophy and how she wanted law enforcement to deal with her attack, which was basically not deal with it. Then I read the other paragraph where they say she got stuck in the door of the getaway vehicle, dragged down the street, and the medical team soon revealed that she was unlikely to survive. Okay, so, quote, as a longtime social movement activist and anarchist, Jen did not believe in state violence, carceral punishment, or incarceration as an effective or just solution to social violence and inequity, the family wrote, adding that Jen would not want to continue the cycle of harm by bringing state-sanctioned violence to those involved in her death or to other members of Oakland's rich community. Wow, dude. So the family is like... So here we go. Let's kind of get into some Andy Knows tweets here. Or should we finish... And then, let's finish the article, and then we'll pull up some of his tweets, because they actually do quote some of it here. So, as the post-millennial editor-at-large Andy No reports, Angel had a long history of vocally opposing any method of policing. In one post, Angel wrote, "My policy has always been to never call the cops, and I have trained by staff, I guess she means my staff, to call the fire department directly if there is a medical emergency instead of calling 911. The Post later stated, quote, I really appreciate the downtown businesses who have said that they won't share their security camera footage because it endangers the life of black folks. So you don't want to intervene. So don't share the security camera footage is her philosophy. You get broken in, don't give the footage to the police. No. Wow, dude. You open that door, so to speak, and you just allow people to run wild over you. After a number of local businesses had their windows broken during a protest, Angel said she appreciated those who let it slide because, quote, they understand why it happened. So doesn't she understand why she was robbed? Shouldn't she have just let it slide? Why did she pursue? Was it her pursuing them? Did that endanger the life of black folks? I just, I don't know. To me, it seems like she had this mindset, and then the real world hit her, and she got. Look, man, it's just sad when anybody loses their life, especially for some nonsense. I don't know what they stole from her. It's not mentioned in here, but whatever it was probably wasn't worth her life. Losing her life over it. According to Andy Node, Jennifer Angel has a long history of far-left organizing in the Bay Area of California. She was trying to proselytize the belief that nation-states, the rule of law, police, etc., should be abolished in favor of an anarchist utopia. She supported the 2020 riots in her community. And Andy No backs it up with some of these. Let's see. I don't have Twitter. I'm not signed in. So I don't know how much we are going to get here. And it's slow to load as well. Well, that's fine. Oh, look, it's going to load as soon as I click it. Anyways, you can check out at Mr. Andy No, that's NGO, on Twitter, and he's got it all wrapped up there. That story from Post Millennial I just thought was crazy, man. It all again, I don't know if she is going hardcore with her philosophy or she was abandoning her philosophy. I just don't know why she pursued them. Was it the anarchist in her that thought, I don't want the police involved, I'm going to get justice myself? That's why you call the police, because that's a good way to get dead. It's a good way to lose your life. I can understand if, like, castle doctrine, whatever, you're in your home and you got people breaking in, but you never really pursue them, right? You eliminate the threat if you can, but you don't go chase them down. You don't get in your vehicle and start chasing them. If they flee, you don't chase them. You point the gun and say, get off my property, and they leave, and you call the police. You don't chase them. She wanted the police out of the situation, and she decided to do it herself. She chased them, and apparently not trained, not ready for that action, and she got that action, and no good, man. I just can't imagine the family, no matter how her views were, I cannot imagine how the family is okay with not going with, quote, traditional prosecution, and they want more restorative justice. What does that mean? Well, we have the Google here, right? What is restorative justice? A system of criminal justice which focuses on the rehabilitation of offenders through reconciliation with victims and the community at large. Uh, in simple terms, I want examples, but basically not sending them to jail. She lost her life, and like they just, it seeks to repair harm by providing an opportunity for those. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. Look, I'm not the hugest fan of police either. Think there's a lot of police who are good. Think there's a lot of them who are bad. And I think some of them, maybe it's not about whether they're good or bad, but the job is so stressful. They work such extreme hours in extreme situations, and they need more breaks, or maybe they're not properly trained or whatever. I think needing more breaks is a thing. You know, if you go to some shift where you got a shootout going on and maybe you see somebody get shot, your nerves are okay, you should be off for a while, right? That's takes a lot to recover from that. And then with all of the talking about police and the activists protesting against them, you got a bunch of people leaving the force, so maybe they can't afford to have multiple police officers. I don't know. It's a tough situation, man. I don't know how you solve that. There's a lot wrong with the police force and how they do things. But then again, some of those people are absolutely heroes and they put their lives on the line every day. It's just a normal human being, man, to take that kind of stress in and out, day in and day out. I don't know. It's not me, not my job, man. I respect people. I respect the ones that do it right, and then some other ones, man, too many police doing things that or just doing their job and actually violating the rights of civilians. I'm not for that, dude, and it happens. It happens a lot, unfortunately, and I don't think it's just a racial thing like they want you to. It happens a lot, man. All right, we'll get to one more story this evening that I wanted to do, which I could not believe. Speaking of police, I actually know the Acadia Parish Sheriff personally, and I cannot believe that he didn't see this, but the Acadia Parish Sheriff's Office got him some cool new gadgets, and they posted about it on Facebook. And one of the pictures happened to be a not safe for work picture. And I cannot believe they didn't see it. Now, I'm going to show you this, and it is now edited. So I'm not going to get blocked. I'm not going to get banned for this. Woo! I did save it in case they would have taken down the post. I do have a screenshot of it, but you know what? I think it's better. Look, it's just a little thing anyways. So, oh, excuse me. It's better that I just show you the edited version because you'll get it, and then it's like, do you even really need to see it? If so, you came to the wrong show, man. We're not showing peens in this. It's not that type of show, man. But here's what happened. So the corrections got a full body scanner from the Acadia Parish Sheriff's Office. You can see this posted on Facebook. Keeping up with technology and law enforcement has many turns. One of the greatest areas of need in these upgrades is the Acadia Parish Jail. Quote, our deputies process roughly 160 people per month into the jail, and our total capacity is 180 inmates. One of our greatest challenges is stopping contraband from entering the facility, stated Sheriff K.P. Gibson. Over the years, many changes have been added to reduce the possibilities of contraband entering the jail facility. These changes have helped, but are not 100% foolproof. Today, the Acadia Parish Sheriff's Office is taking another step to battle this problem. And this is great. Look, it's great to have stuff like this because it prevents kind of unwanted searches, right? You can just do the intercept model here, this full body scanner, and you don't have to get super violated by the police, right? So, quote, our agency has purchased a full body scanner. This unit will be used for incoming inmates and random checks on employees entering the jail. We have discovered contraband and weapons entering the jail. Our goal is to catch contraband before it enters the jail and make the jail as safe as possible, stated KP. So, the system is regulated by the FDA, and they put up a couple of pictures here. By the way, this thing was shared 51 times. It took about 51 times. You can see the edit here. Before, we'll go through the pictures too. They had to delete the other picture, but it was shared that many times before they realized. It took like a full day before they took it down. I just cannot believe somebody uploaded that and did not notice. So there you go. It's the Tech 84 Intercept full body scanner. And this is another angle of it right here. And then the edited picture. So it right here, you see that it has the one smiley face laughing. It had a bunch. People were liking it. So they had to delete that picture and they put a new one with it edited. And of course, they put a little square right here over the nether regions of this man. Now, they never said who this man is. Thankfully, they didn't give an identity. I'm not trying to shame somebody, but it now you could see his junk, man. It was very obvious. So here's the question. And then is that his bowels too? I don't know. It looks like you can kind of see his bowels or something, man. So, what is that? Like a key fob in his pocket, maybe, or something else here? You see some black things. Anyways, looking at this, now you know they can see your privates, your nether regions. Who's going to want to go through that scanner now? Unless you're proud and you don't mind just whipping it out and showing people. Who's going to want to go through this scanner? You know? Wow, dude. I'm just surprised it took them so long to catch that. And we'll go back and look at some of these shares and just see people laughing at it real quick. But I'm glad I can show you guys this. And hey, YouTube will probably allow me to put this video up now. But people laughing. Where's one? They had one that had a bunch of comments. People rolling, putting the skull emojis like, I'm dead. Laughing so hard at this. Well, it's going to take a little while to load, and I don't want to out too many people here with their real names and Facebook profiles, but this is public stuff, and it's pretty funny. I cannot believe, I cannot believe they had the, wow. The oversight. Where's the one where they're laughing? Now, hang on a little bit more. Let it load. But they never said who it was. It was brave enough to go stand in that thing and then get their not safe for work picture posted on Facebook. All right, man. It's not going to load good enough because we're broadcasting for it to show up, but there you go, man. I just thought that was hilarious. Nothing against KP, the sheriff of Acadia Parish. Like, I don't follow everything too closely, but I have met him on several occasions, and I think he's a good job. I think he's a good guy, and I think he's doing a good job from what I know. So just a silly mistake there, but very silly, very funny, and that that thing went viral, at least locally, on the South Louisiana level. All right, man. This has been the Lanyap Show. I know it's a quick one tonight. I just wanted to cover a few stories. I know my buddy Chris is really busy tonight. We're a few, a week and a half away from Mardi Gras. We got a lot of Mardi Gras parades and stuff kicking off this weekend, and he's getting very busy with that. He is a busy man, Chris, out at Chris Logan Media. So he wasn't able to come on tonight. But I'm back after my sickness again. Nothing to worry about. Just I had strep throat, and I needed a little break. So one more thing I wanted to talk about just here on the end is I don't know if anybody's been following the controversy with other creators on social media and YouTube, etc., such as Tim Pool, the whole Eliza Blue thing, and Jeremy from the Quartering, and that nonsense, man. And that stuff has been outrageous. People jumping on Tim Pool because he didn't want to cover the Eliza Blue thing. And I'll say this to back Tim up a little bit. He did pay a journalist. Now, they're saying Shane Cashman was doing a puff piece, but Tim was actually, he did pay him. I don't think Tim told him how to frame it. Cashman frames it the way he wants to. I read the first one. I didn't read. I think there's 3 versions now. It's a really long thing, and Cashman, man, it's hard for him to get to the point. He likes to paint this big scenario and stuff, and you read through it, and you're like, oh, my God, just get to the point. Get to the point. So, anyways, but Tim paid the man money to do the story. So people saying he wasn't covering it, but the other thing is, well, Tim had Eliza Blue as a guest, and he platformed her. And I was like, dude, it's the same thing from people saying, oh, you can't give Alex Jones a platform. So anytime you have it, you can't have him on your show anymore. Tim has a bunch of guests on his show, folks. Leave him alone. Like, he didn't know, oh, they got to properly vet. Well, she was on a bunch of shows where they didn't properly vet. Should he have come on and said, oh, guys, we didn't? Should he have just referenced it real quick? Yeah, and I'm sure people would have been fine, but some of this stuff seems artificial, man. I'll be honest. I don't think all of this stuff is genuine. I didn't think Eliza Blue was that big of a deal either. I didn't even really know who she was until this controversy happened, and I think Tim wanted to cover more important topics, and then it became about censorship, and then later on he actually did mention it, but y'all busted his bubble, man, because Tim Pool's going off on the deep end, and it looks like tonight he's considering quitting. I know he put up the Twitter poll asking people if he should quit or not, and it was mostly no. And then, probably a bunch of leftists got a hold of it, people that really want to get it to him, and now yes is in the lead, and he said he'll abide by the rules of the poll. So tonight at the end of his show on Timcast IRL, he'll figure it out. I really don't think I think he needs a vacation. I'll say that, because he has been flipping out. But I don't think he's just going to walk away, man. He's invested too much money. They're still in the process of building a building. He's got a bunch of employees working for him. He quits. I mean, he's got all of these people working underneath him. He'll probably take a break or something, take a little vacation, clear his mind. I don't see him quitting no matter what. But then again, maybe he does, and then a half-constructed building, everybody's on their own, and he goes, quote, live in a van down by the river. Tim can't last. He can't. I know he tries to act like, oh, I'm a prepper and this and that. Yeah, bruh. Extremely difficult. Now, he's got the money, so he'll last in that way. He'll pay for what he can't do himself. I'm not sure that dude could start his own fire, Look, I have trouble as it is starting my own, so I know how hard it is, and I don't think he was in the Boy Scouts, so I'm just saying. All right, that's it for tonight. Shorter show of the Long Form Podcast, and we'll chop this up in clips. Like, share, subscribe. Check out all of these websites and subscribe to me on there, as well as all your other favorites, and then explore, man. BitChute has some really cool content. Rumble is definitely up and coming and hitting the ground running, and I like what they're doing there. And then YouTube, of course. You got to be there. Hate it. Hate all the censorship. Half of my videos are I got like 3 of them now has been taken down. I got strikes and whatever, dude. So don't rely on YouTube, but certainly go like, share, subscribe on there. I know some people added me for the BattleBots video I did last year. I am watching BattleBots this year. I haven't watched anything yet that makes me want to do a video on BattleBots, but maybe I'll do something at the conclusion of the season if there's another big controversy or whatever. As of now, I'm watching it with my little boys. We're enjoying it, and there were some changes that were made. I don't think there's any of them I really wanted, but there were some changes to be made, and so far I haven't seen anything too crazy, which makes me want to stop watching or throw something at the TV or anything like that. So I appreciate everybody watching, like, share, subscribe. Let your friends and family know about the Lanyap Show, and we'll do this thing again soon. Thanks for watching, dudes.